Marketing today is full of noise, recycled strategies, and fake wins. I'm here today to talk to you about what actually works and what absolutely doesn't. I did what everyone told me to do. I had LinkedIn automations, Instagram DM automations, cold email outreach, cold calling, but there was ultimately one thing that really set my business up for great early on success. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, I'm only a 6-month agency founder, meaning I've only been running this business for 6 months. But that being said, I've already learned a lot of lessons in building this agency and scaling it to the point it is now. So the one thing that worked really well for me was the thing that I did for all my other clients, and the thing that I had the most experience in, which was paid advertising. So as I mentioned in my previous video, starting with 0 clients and 0 Rand in monthly recurring revenue is challenging, to say the least. And you are hustling as hard as you can to sign those very first clients. Now, as I mentioned, I had tried just about everything. Cold email outreach, cold calling for days on end, Instagram automation softwares that would automatically DM potential clients based on certain criteria, LinkedIn automations that would DM individuals with certain titles in their actual LinkedIn bios. So we really did try just about everything. And it was a learning process because I spent a lot of time learning these individual strategies and how to best execute them to hopefully drive some clientele. But let me tell you, out of the hours and hours and hours that I tested trying all these different strategies, the amount of clients that it brought me, 0. So that being said, I understand that there are better ways and probably more efficient ways that I could have run those strategies themselves, and maybe I didn't give it enough legs, although I did give it about 2 months generally for those other strategies to try and take off. But my success wasn't in those strategies. It wasn't in cold calling, wasn't in cold emailing, wasn't in LinkedIn DM automation, wasn't in Instagram DM automation. It only came through what I had the most experience in, which was paid advertising. So the paid advertising strategy that actually worked for me was a 2-pronged approach. A very, very highly targeted meta ads campaign to get our name out there about Iron Marketing and the services we offer. Back then, I didn't have any videos running. I only had high quality static images that were pulled from a database of high converting meta ad images that had seen to have legs before, meaning they have run before and generated results before. So I mimicked that kind of style and created the visuals based on that style. I created about 5 variations back then and ran them for approximately a month or so. And in conjunction with that, I ran a Google Ads campaign, which was targeted to obviously your high value keywords like digital marketing agency in South Africa, social media management agency in South Africa, paid advertising management in South Africa. These kind of keywords that I used in that campaign really saw the legs. And now, of course, there is a delay from starting and running the ads to when you convert those clients. And in my case, it was anywhere between 2 to kind of 5-6 weeks sometimes, just because from the initial strategy call that you have with the clients and to find out if they'll be a good fit from you, to actually getting them to sign that service level agreement and receiving the first paycheck, it does take a couple of weeks, and it does take a few phone calls, back and forth messages, ironing out the details. So that strategy really, really worked for me. And I think that the 2-pronged approach from really meeting them on Facebook as well as capturing high intent users, that is the thing that really drove the leads, number 1, but also the conversions, number 2 for us. So not only did I revert back to what I actually know, which is paid advertising, I do feel that the real success doesn't lie in just going with what I've just said, paid advertising. It doesn't lie in that. The real success lies in honing in one approach and sticking to that until you see results. because the truth of the matter is that there is no single best way to go about advertising and way to go about getting clients for your agency or for your business. You really just have to hone in on what you know, okay? And while that doesn't apply for every business under the sun, because there are clear winners in certain industries, but in this case scenario, I really feel that picking one, whether it's cold email outreach, whether it's LinkedIn DM automation, whether it's Instagram DM automation, whether it is paid advertising, and really honing in on that specific skill and that specific way of advertising, that's what's going to generate the most results for you. Because ultimately what I realized early on is that trying to split your time and your skill set amongst all of these different baskets filters out basically all of the actual quality that's being delivered on that specific service. So you could spend a couple of hours learning cold email outreach, okay, and begin running it, but you are not going to be running it as well, obviously, as someone who's been doing it for months, even years. So falling back on what I knew in paid advertising and running that because I knew what would work and I knew how to go about doing it was ultimately the best thing for me. But back then I succumb to, oh no, I don't want to allocate a bit of money towards paid advertising because it could be expensive. I've seen cold email outreach, LinkedIn DM automation can be a lot more cheaper on the early onset, but it had the potential to deliver me results. So I tried them, but like I said, didn't see success in that. So what I would always suggest is honing in on one specific advertising service and really honing in on your skill set on it and doing it consistently for weeks and weeks and weeks until you see those results come in. But also, the paid advertising that I did back then, I almost treated myself like a potential client. So I said to myself, listen, if we can't deliver leads for ourselves using our own services, what good are we to other businesses that are looking for lead generation within South Africa and within the world? So I said, let's use us as a case scenario to showcase our skills and showcase the kind of results that we could generate for potential clients. So that kind of mindset shift really, really worked well for us and got me to now where we are at, which is July, 6 months in, we've got 6 clients, which is an awesome, awesome state to be in. But that being said, that strategy will not work for every business and will not work for every agency. You really need to hone in on that specific service and that specific way of advertising and develop that skill set further and commit to it for a long enough time instead of just jumping ship to the next big advertising way of getting clients. So, yeah, that's in a nutshell what I saw what worked for me. I think the way in which we advertised really communicated what we did and how we did it and how much we were going to charge to our prospective clients. And one thing I did find worthwhile is increasing the difficulty that it was for a customer to potentially inquire with us. Because when we first started running these paid advertisements, there was also a learning curve to it. Not a learning curve for us, but a learning curve to getting the right clients into our door and into our communications. Because when we first started running it, I wanted a low barrier of entry, as in a click to send a message on WhatsApp, a click to send an Instagram DM. So that kind of call to action we tried in the beginning. And we were absolutely flooded with messages, flooded. But again, the quality of messages and inquiries that we got were absolutely abysmal. We ended up spending hours on responding to customers and unfortunately not being able to get back to customers because of the quantity of responses we got. But now, the pivot that I made in order to see success within the paid advertising for lead gen for agencies was to increase that friction so that we would hopefully get a higher quality lead coming through. So in this case scenario, what we ended up doing was sending them to our website where they could see more information. They would actually have to scroll down and read the page and understand what the services we offer and then fill out a form where they could submit there. Now, what that did on a lead quantity perspective was decrease the amount of leads we got, but the quality increased exponentially. Now, that being said, we signed one client in the beginning from the send a message call to action, but we had hundreds, if not thousands, of messages being sent to us. Now, with the alternative, we maybe got about 20 to 50 leads, and from that, we converted 5 of them. So with that is obviously a much higher conversion rate from lead to actual client. So something to definitely consider when setting up your campaigns and setting up your paid advertising strategy, if that is the strategy you want to pursue for getting more clients and getting more business for your agency or your other business in South Africa or globally. So I've made mistakes obviously within the past 6 months of scaling this agency to 6 clients at the moment. Now, I'm nowhere near a veteran of an agency owner, or I haven't ran this agency for many years, but I do think there's some appeal in that because you will get the honest truth day to day about what it is like in reality to run and scale your agency to the point where you are able to fund and live the life that you want to. Now, I'm not there yet, but I'm hoping to bring you guys on the journey with me. So in that, the things we could talk about here and probably will talk about is business, entrepreneurship, life, gym, cars, personal health, all of these things which I am very, very passionate about and which can really contribute to not only people who are looking to get into this kind of agency business model, but also young entrepreneurs, maybe not being in the best circumstances, living in South Africa, potentially wanting to bring an income to their day-to-day life that could really, really set them apart in this 21st century.